Hey guys, just before the podcast gets started, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss an upload. Hello and welcome back to the Yellow Squared podcast. My name is Ned and I'm joined by my brother James this week. James, no Jay Demerit on the podcast this week, unfortunately. Back to just us. How have you been? We haven't actually recorded in a while. We've just been very busy over the Easter period, haven't we? So, how are you doing?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. Like you say, no Jay. Sadly, he's not returning our calls anymore. So yeah, thanks. I suppose it's worth saying thanks to everybody for all the support on that episode. We had a great
Yeah,
time and hope everybody
yeah.
enjoyed it. But yeah, like you say, as we get to Easter, it's just busy, isn't it? Life happens, life gets in the way, and we all start doing some bits and pieces with the time off that comes with it. And we just couldn't fit an episode in after West Brom and Leeds.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're back in the seat as we hit the run into the end of the season. But yeah, mate, I'm good. I'm all right. How are you doing? More importantly, how was the bike ride?
Oh, that bike ride! Wow. Completed. That's what I'll summarize it with that. Probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Genuinely, 9 hours of solid riding, essentially. Um, Obviously we had some breaks in there at some point, but wow. Yeah, what it kind of dawns on you when you're like 40k in just how far 100 kilometers is. Um, and you've got so much further to go. You're not even halfway. So very tough. Spurred on by all the donations, all the support from everyone. So many donations from people in the Watford community, which was amazing. So many nice messages from everyone in the Watford community as well. So that really spurred me on to continue with it because there were some moments where we were thinking, wow, this is this even possible? But yeah, we got it done. We've more than doubled our initial target of £500, so it's all going towards a great cause. But yeah, my legs are still absolutely shattered, James.
Well, fair play to you, mate. That was a serious effort.
Yeah.
Good effort. Well done, mate.
Yeah, thank you. All right then. Should we get on with guess the player? Is there one this week?
There is absolutely this one this week. Yes, we had a bit of a break, but we couldn't forget guess the player because it's hotting up now, isn't it? It's
It
like
is.
the championship playoff race.
We're getting towards the
Getting
business end.
tasty. And am I right? What is it? 17,
17-15 to you. Yes, this is my opportunity. A 3-pointer takes me into the lead first time, right at the business end of the championship.
Goodness.
This could be massive. So I'm hoping it's a good little clue.
So, yeah, well, we'll see. Are you ready for it, mate?
I am ready as I'll ever be.
Happy. Okay, here we go. Clue number one. Born in South America in 1985, I played for 6 clubs in my career, making a total of 259 appearances, scoring 13 goals, with Watford being my final club.
Wow. 1985, South America. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is. Oh, no, no, it's not that person. This is. Oh. Ooh. This is a tough one. Only 13 goals in 259 appearances.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm struggling to think here.
We're going to have to push you for an answer.
I'm going to guess. No, what? Oh, this is terrible. I can't think. No player is fitting the description. Last club. This is crazy. I can't believe it. 13 goals, 200. That's not a lot of. That's not a lot of appearances, to be honest. So whoever it is, poor. Um,
What's sticking on you now,
you know
mate?
what? I'm gonna have to pass. I'm gonna have to pass. There's genuinely no one I can think of who fits that description. Brilliant.
Four from you. That's good from me. I'll take it.
You make it a bit more vague next time, please.
Nah, there
Goodness
was
me.
plenty in that.
The
There
dark
was plenty
arts.
in that.
The
There was
dark
plenty
arts are at work here. That's absolutely disgusting.
in
Right. Okay then. We'll get started with the main topic of the podcast, James. Tom Cleverley, 4 games in charge now, unbeaten.
Mm.
People say they're buying into the philosophy, and it seems very, very positive. The football on the field is trending in the right direction. We're not losing games. We've come up against some tough opposition in Leeds and West Brom.
Mm.
I guess you could throw Preston in there, but they sort of played yesterday like they were Rotherham, to be honest.
It was a weird one yesterday,
It
wasn't
was
it?
a strange performance, and I'm sure if any Preston fans are listening to this for whatever reason, you would agree. So, 3 challenging, challenging opponents, 3 draws. We haven't. We've been unfortunate with the goals we've conceded late on. Um, how would you summarise how Cleverley's tenure has begun as interim coach, James?
I think for me, when we found out Tom was coming back in or was replacing Val, I think what we said was we wanted him to just almost build a team as he was a player. Committed, hardworking, with good intensity. And I think we've seen that, especially in the games against West Brom and Leeds. I thought we were excellent against Leeds. The high press really, really worked, and we could have carved out a couple more opportunities, I thought.
Mm.
So I think we've seen that. I wasn't expecting us to go to a back three, but I think he's been forced to do that in order to bring, to be honest, Rajovic and Bio into the game, because we know they can't play as a sole striker. It just doesn't work for them.
Yeah, yeah,
So he's needed to bring in like a front two or a front three, depending on how you want to look at it. But the back three switch, wasn't expecting that, but I think that's worked really nicely for us because
mm.
what it's meant for me is that we've got those 3 centre halves, which frees up or negates the requirement for a properly defensive holding midfielder. Sorry, Jake Livermore, but that's brought Tom Delibashir into midfield,
Yeah,
and like yesterday and the other games, paired up with Kayembe, it just looks a lot more dynamic, and I think that's brought the tempo up and the intensity up. And yes, yesterday he sort of fizzled out pretty quickly, but I thought when we started the game okay, and we were breaking the lines, and I just yet again we sort of let ourselves down in the final third, but I felt like we were getting in good opportunities, good places, good positions.
mm.
We just lacked a little bit at the end, but West Brom and Leeds, the goals that we scored in those games were absolutely brilliant. I loved Rybach's goal against West Brom. It was just nice football, good from Asprilla, a lovely ball out wide. Lewis, his only cross of the match that went to anybody, was right on the money, and Rybach put it in. But it came from good football, and we looked really confident. We were playing really well at that time. So I think basically what I'm saying is I've been really encouraged by Tom, and after West Brom, I think we put out on our social media channels that a positive result against Preston surely puts Tom in the in Mr. Pozzo's mind as a potential replacement, and
Yeah.
I would say that you can argue whether or not yesterday was a positive or not, but undefeated. We've got players, Tom Delibashir, coming out saying they're enjoying working for him
Mm.
and buying into him. He's a fan favourite. I would be minded to give him a go. And of course,
Yeah.
as we heard in Jay's own words, he thinks Watford is a club where ex-players should come through and coach. And he played with Tom,
Mm.
rates him highly. I wouldn't. I would be tempted to give him the job at the start of the season, at
Yeah.
least next season, just to see how he goes.
Yeah. Well, for various reasons, this Easter, I haven't watched too much of Watford. I watched the Birmingham game, and I
You're
watched
busy cycling.
yesterday. Um, and to be honest, I've just seen sort of a similar Watford to what
Yeah.
I've watched for a long, long time now. Just bit slow. We occasionally have a good swing of momentum, but there's no end product. You know, I think Tom Cleverley has brought in an approach which suggests that we shouldn't be intimidated by any team in the championship, and I think the results show that
Yes.
we've gone toe to toe with Leeds. We probably could have beaten them if it wasn't for a sloppy goal to give away in the last 5 minutes, and then
Yeah.
we should have beaten West Brom if it wasn't for a literal last minute worldie essentially. Um,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden it's like wow, three games, 3 wins. Obviously, it's difficult for me to put my thought out there, given that I've only seen 50% of the games, and
Yeah.
they've probably been the worst two out of the 4 games to have watched.
Mm.
Um, but I think it's just nice to go into a game and think we could score, we could play well here, we will go up against the team and actually work and run for each other. Whereas, towards the end of Valor, it was a bit of a chore it was becoming a bit of a chore to put on Watford and just be miserable essentially as we passed it around the back.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You were right in the sense that I think yesterday was Preston and Birmingham were definitely ranked 3 and 4 of the
Yeah,
Cleverley games, just in terms of performance. Um, Birmingham, I think we said at the time, didn't we? It was mostly because I don't think he had enough time to implement anything different, and it was an
yeah.
important game, so we're just going to try and grind it out. And I think yesterday, man, Preston, Preston just didn't do anything.
It's odd,
They,
isn't it? They're chasing the
they,
playoffs. I would have
they,
expected them to go and attack us.
well, and how many times a season have we? I mean, I've definitely said to the sort of friends and other people and yourself that I'm just surprised at some of the teams that are above us in the table,
Yeah,
considering how I've seen them when we played them the first time round.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
Norwich is another example of that as well. To be honest.
yeah. It does show like how the championship is so sort of changeable.
It's
But
so fluid, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
just Preston yesterday. I think they just sat back. I think we had 72% of the ball. They were happy for us to have the ball. You can argue they probably had the clearest chances of the game,
Mm.
but yeah, it was difficult. I think we found it difficult to break them down.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
that's going to be natural, isn't it? When they're a decently set up team who are in the
yeah,
top half.
yeah. But kind of what I wanted to say about what we've seen from Tom and how he's come into the coaching role. One of the things I've really tried to keep an eye on is Emmanuel Dennis.
Mm.
And yes, he fades in and out of games, and nothing came off for him yesterday. Won a
No,
couple of
no,
corners,
no.
but that's about it. But you know, he looks bought into the club. He looks bought into the club, and he looks bought into the team and the players. When Rajovic scored against West Brom, Dennis was the first over to him. He's doing a lot of pressing. He looks athletic. He looks like he's starting to get his fitness back.
Yeah,
Real shame as we get towards the end of the season, but I take that as a sign that because Emmanuel Dennis could quite easily go, I'm going back to Turkey, or I'm going back to Forest, aren't I, at the end of the season?
yeah. I
Tom
don't
come
care.
in, the season's done. I can just, I can sort of run around. But he looked, he looked relatively sharp for me.
Mm.
And I think we've seen that from all of the front players: Bio, Aspria, Rajovic. They've all looked like they've, to me, stepped up a level,
Yeah.
respectively to each other. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's had a galvanising effect on some of the players and some of the squad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling encouraged by him, and in the interest of, there's nobody else out there that I would necessarily want and
Not
to come
really.
in.
No, not really, is there?
Yeah, if you're getting results in the Championship, then why not have a go? Because
Mm.
we may have stumbled on the next great Watford manager, and we don't know that, do we?
Maybe.
If we don't give it a
Maybe.
go.
Yeah. Why not? All right then, James.
Yeah.
I have a couple more questions to ask you, but I'm going to save them until after clue number 2 of the impossible guess the player this week.
See, I feel like this is you're talking yourself out of it, mate. You're talking yourself out of this one.
Oh, just
You,
give me the second clue. Give me the
so you
second
passed
clue.
on the first one.
I
As a
did,
quick
yeah.
reminder, this person was born in South America in 1985.
Yeah.
That puts them in their late 30s, I think.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
38. 6 clubs, 259 appearances, 13 goals, and he finished his career at the mighty Watty. Ready for clue 2?
Yes.
Okay. In my trophy cabinet, I have the Torneo de Viareggio with Juventud, not Juventus, and 2 Coppa Italias in 2011, 2012, and 2013, 2014, and then the Italian Supercoppa Italiana in 2014 with Napoli. All of those trophies in Italy were with Napoli. My first goal for Watford came against Liverpool on the opening day of the season in 2016-17.
Oh my goodness. Who scored in that game? I have a
3-3 game, I
feeling.
think it was.
Oh. No, it's not him, is it? No. I have a feeling Okaka scored that game, you know.
I think he might have done, yeah.
Oh, good lord. Yeah. Oh, no.
This could be a massive swing in the tournament,
This is
in the
terrible.
competition. This.
Late 30s, last club. I'm just going to have to guess Miguel Britos, you know.
Well, now, for technical reasons, I don't have a soundboard available to me, listeners. But I would be putting on the round of applause because it is indeed Miguel Britos.
I've pulled it out of absolutely
Pulled it out of the
nowhere.
bag. That's wonderful.
Goodness me. Wow.
Miguel Britos. Yeah, loved him.
He's like Paraguayan or something, isn't he? Or Uruguayan?
Uruguayan.
Crikey.
For those football manager connoisseurs out there, Juventud are a Uruguayan club.
Wow.
And, yeah. Do you want to know what the third clue was? I want to say it because I wanted to.
Yeah, could I have a guess first of what the third clue is?
Go on.
I committed borderline murder on Anthony Knockaert.
Yeah. My most famous moment in a Watford shirt was for a superb / horrendous challenge on Anthony Knockaert against Brighton in 2017.
What a challenge. You were there for that game, weren't you? 0-0?
Fun fact for the listeners, yeah, I was sat right in front of the challenge. I literally saw it right in front of me
Wow.
with long-term listener turned Watford fan, Nick. Yeah, I think it might have been Nick's first game.
Wow.
Coming to Watford.
And he's been disappointed ever
get
since.
snapped. Yeah, he's been disappointed ever since. Yeah, but I absolutely loved it. What a brilliant challenge.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, Miguel Britos, bit of a some would say cult hero at Watford.
Yeah.
Strange. I was scared every time he, got on the ball for a while, and then I mean it was the same with Barami, to be honest. And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, you know what? I can actually quite like him. Probably around the time that he snapped Anthony Knockaert, to be fair.
Yeah,
so.
massive fan of that. Yeah, anybody that snaps him is goes up in my estimations anyway.
I'm sure he must have just been playing the dive in the 2013 semi-final, just in his mind
Oh,
as he just went in at knee height with his studs. There was no other reason to do that.
it
But
was, yeah, it was. I mean, it was a truly terrible tackle. Yeah,
wow,
awful,
yeah,
hilarious. Yeah. So what's that then, mate? Was that
that makes it
17,
17 all.
16? Oh,
17
17
all.
all.
Yeah, 17,
No.
15 before this week. 2 points. Yeah, you've mentioned technical reasons, so I'll add it in myself.
Very good.
17 all, yeah, all to play for
Yeah.
still. We've been saying this for weeks that it's all to play for. So one of us has got to either mess up or outperform
Mm.
eventually, because we can't go into the end of the season with a tie. That's
Yeah, I
not
don't
going
know
to
how.
happen.
I don't know how we do extra time and penalties with this. I'm
I'm
not
it,
sure.
it must just have to be either at the end of season awards show or in the keep buy and sell that it's really golden goal at that point.
Yeah, we have to start guessing squad numbers from old programs.
Yeah, that's gonna be it won't get there because your next your next clue is gonna be challenging next week. I'm gonna
Yeah,
cook up something something hideous for you to guess. But
let
that
him
is
cook.
that is for the next pod. For now, we're back to Tom Cleverley and the
Yeah,
win. The winless run is stretching out to 3, but the unbeaten run, more importantly, is at 4. And I think, just as a summary, really, from my point of view, he seems to have steadied a quite rapidly sinking ship,
mm.
which is probably the main thing that I can take out of it. I've not watched a lot of the football, which is not
Yeah,
beneficial for somebody hosting a Watford podcast. Um, so
for
I'm
that,
I'm
mate.
slacking on my duties slightly, but I've got a couple of questions, James. Just from what
Yeah.
I've seen in the last game, Preston.
Mm.
Um, I've been disappointed, to be honest, with Andrews and Lewis
Yeah.
recently. More so Lewis than Andrews, and that's purely just for the experience of playing in the championship and being 26 or however old Lewis is
Yeah.
compared to Ryan Andrews. Um, the final ball is something that has been so questioned, so many times over the past season, 2 seasons.
Mm.
For a while, I've been one to think, oh, it's just we don't have the right striker. That the striker should be scoring that. If we had a good striker, he'd get on the end of that cross. I I think the blame can be placed on the fullbacks now, James, and I'm saying this because Rajovic came on yesterday. This is another question to you, as
Mm.
well. So just
Mm.
keep your listening ears on.
I'm ready.
Rajovic came in yesterday. I thought he actually looked good, and that's
Yep.
that's quite crazy for me. I thought he looked good when he came on. Put himself about, which is what he needs to do as a massive
Yep.
striker. Put himself about. His link-up play looked good. He's obviously not the quickest, but he's finally utilizing his prowess. I think is a better word to use. But the crossing is hideous into him.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
his service is absolutely shocking. The one time that we worked something nice and Lewis put in a good cross, he scored against West Brom.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the goal. It just the final ball is terrible time and time again.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it really takes one ball from Aspria every now and again that is a nice ball into the box. Dennis
Mm.
will get onto the end of it. Rajovic will get onto it. Even Bayer will get onto the end of it. We've seen that this season.
Yeah.
I'm finally, it's swinging in the direction of I don't necessarily think the attacking options through the middle are the problem. It's the ball into the box which is really letting the side down. You can't say that we don't have quality up there now of Dennis playing through the middle. Um, Bio. I think Bio's been solid this season, to be honest, but he looks more dangerous under Cleverley as well. Obviously, coming back from injury, recently as well, fairly recently.
Mm.
Birmingham
Mm.
being one of his first few games back, and obviously Rajovic and Cleverley's come out and said he really likes Rajovic. His work ethic is impressive, and that's
Yeah.
something we can look at and think, you know what, he wants to be there. He's going the extra yard. He's working hard on the training ground to improve his game. Other things around him need to improve. So that's a long-winded summary, James. Two
Yeah.
questions is: do you think Rajovic has improved recently, and
Hmm.
specifically under Cleverley, given that
Yeah.
you've seen him play a bit more? And do you think he has a future at Watford next season? And the
Hmm.
second question is, what are your thoughts on what's happened to Lewis and Andrews in the most recent form? Because I think
Yeah.
since Christmas they've both been pretty below par.
Yeah. Uh, I'll answer the first two questions because I think they're the easiest ones.
Yeah,
Yes, Rajovic has improved. Yes, he has a future at the club. Um, and I'll come back to that point in a minute. So yes to those. I completely agree with you. Yesterday, I thought we were let down by the final ball, not just in the crossing, but there was plenty of times where we were on the counter, and Andrews' touch let him down. We said this. We've said this all season with Ryan. I just feel like he's just overstretching himself a little bit too much. He's just trying too hard.
mm.
Um, I think, and he's got a lot of pace. But when you're trying to move that quickly with the ball under pressure, it's very hard to put the ball exactly where you need to be. We butchered a couple of counter attacks. It was we had 4-on-4, 3-on-4, a couple of times yesterday, and unfortunately Ryan was culpable for sort of misplacing his touch and
Yeah,
losing out.
yeah,
I think though, and I agree with you that the final ball is a problem, but I think it comes back to the problem that we have and that we've had all season is that once we get into the final third, there is no plan. It
yeah,
just doesn't look that there is a plan. We
yeah,
don't know whether or not we're going to be lay it off, whip the ball into the box, go for a knockdown. We don't know whether or not we're going to try and do an underlap for a winger for a cutback. We don't look like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I couldn't tell you really what our style of play is in the final third. And I think basically Tom came out and said that after the Preston game. I think he said we were
Mm.
too tentative around the box, which we were.
That's been a problem at Watford for a few seasons now, and
Yeah,
it's
it's and
frustrating for us because at times we're like, just shoot, and
yeah,
it did seem at a point people were shooting from outside the box and it was going in because that was a big thing that Ishmael wanted to happen, and he wanted to
well,
see more. But why
yeah,
not? There's
yeah,
quality in the team. Deli Bashir can strike a ball. Koenig can strike a ball. Kembe can
yeah.
strike a ball. Aspria can strike a ball.
And I think
There's
it comes.
quality to hit the ball outside the box. I think it becomes overcomplicated, and the end product quality isn't good
Yeah,
enough from certain players, and particularly wing backs who have the option in a 3-5-2 to bomb on a lot more and
yeah.
be involved in the attacks. The quality isn't there, um,
No, I
which is
agree,
frustrating.
and I think I mean without turning it into a wider podcast topic, but it comes back to the fact that it's just been chop and change too frequently over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah,
There's just so many different ideas going around, and that we don't have a manager that comes in and says, "I want to play with a back three, and I want attacking wing backs, and I want target forwards up front. I'm going to put balls into the box, and it's going to be quote unquote heavy metal football, bit like Klopp, and we're just going to attack, attack, attack." and we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah.
That's just not happened, and we know that's not happened. But to circle everything back together and to answer your questions, if we over the summer decide this is the style of play, this is what we want to do. I want wing backs, and I want them to get forward, and I want them to put balls into the box. I think that clears up everybody's mind as to what they want to do. So I think you won't see the ponderous nature of Lewis, and I won't. I don't think. I think you see less of Ryan Andrews over trying, because I think he's having to think too much whilst he's running at the moment. If he knows what he's got to do, it's a lot easier. But then I think if we are going for that style of play, a confident Rajovic in the Championship
Yeah.
can be a threat. And
Yes.
I think with a
Yeah, he can bully
pre-season
centre
under his
backs.
belt, with a head coach that believes in him, a la Tom Cleverley, then I think there's a chance for him when partnered with somebody else who has to be really quick. Then I think that's a front four option of attacking wing backs, Rajovic plus another striker, could be really powerful in the Championship.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm at, and that's why I think, going back to what this pod was about, having a look at what we've seen from Cleverley so far, I think there's green shoots of hope that he can be the head coach that brings it all together, because, as Jay said, the players will either buy into him or not, and on the face of it, it looks like they're buying into him at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, did that answer your question, mate?
Yeah, it did actually, and it feels kind of similar to what happened at Middlesbrough last season. I know Michael Carrick came in with a lot more time left to go, but he was relatively unknown. Similar to what Tom Cleverley's brought to Watford so far.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it follows the same vein. I know Middlesbrough have been a bit topsy-turvy this season.
Yeah.
But I'd like I'd like Cleverley to get the job. More like from the financial aspect, it's a cheaper option than to bring someone new in again.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I don't see the point I don't see the point
no,
anymore
no, no. If he's
in
good enough,
going to find an exciting foreign coach from a second tier European nation who's won a couple of trophies, who may all of a sudden prove to be awful. Vladimir. What's the point? If
yeah,
you've got a guy who knows the players, knows the club, and is currently proving that he is capable of earning points in the Championship,
yeah,
next season is going to be about building again and growing. We're not going to be pushing at the top of the table.
yeah.
We're not going to be looking at a shoe in at the playoff. We're going to be hoping for a good run of form at some point that gives us something to be excited about.
Yeah,
And Tom
100%.
Cleverley,
Yeah, I think
in my
Clever can
opinion.
do that, and I think we can really kick on. If we're serious about starting a natural project and not just abandoning it after 15 minutes, it
Yeah.
will take a couple of seasons to fix it. And unfortunately, I thought last season would have been that stability season where we fix things under Rob Edwards. That's obviously not happened this season. I thought maybe the same again under Ishmael. Next season, I'm hoping ideal for me would be Cleverley gets the job. We stabilise things, bring in the right players he wants, and then in a couple of seasons we can properly mount a charge either for the playoffs or for the automatics. Because
Yeah.
I saw a stat that Shrewsbury have been in League One for the past 10 years, and I just couldn't think of anything worse for Watford to be in the Championship for 10 years running. But yeah,
Well,
optimism. I'm hoping Cleverly sticks around. Last couple of questions, James, before we finish things off. Um, a tough final 5 games for Watford now.
yeah.
Ipswich on Wednesday, Southampton on Saturday, and then Hull, Sunderland, and Middlesbrough to finish things off.
Ooh.
How do you think we'll fare in the next week, initially, and then how many points do you reckon we'll get come the end of the season? From now, I'm not asking you to do maths from what we already have plus what we might get, James.
Oh, yeah. Well, judging by here's how prepared I am, listeners. So we're starting 51 points. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I'm one of the most positive and optimistic Watford fans going. But I really cannot see us getting any points. Sadly, this week. I think Ipswich are far too strong at home, and they are gunning for promotion. So
yeah.
unless they have one of those midweek games at the top of the table where they choke, I
I
can't see us
I
getting any points in
I
this game.
think they all have been rocketed following the Derby loss as well, just to add that
Yeah,
into the little cooking pot.
yeah. So unfortunately, I could see us getting well, frankly, dismantled.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
um,
I mean,
um,
I said that about Leeds at home, to be fair, and look
yeah,
what happened. So you never
yeah.
know, you never know. But yeah, as an
I think
optimistic Watford fan, I will probably say we might get 1 point this week if we're lucky, and that being
yeah,
Southampton away.
yeah. I think so. I would agree with you on that one. And then with was it Hull, Middlesbrough, and Sunderland to go?
Yeah,
I mean, it depends how we performed in these two games, really. But I think you're probably looking at somewhere between 3 and 5 points off the back of that.
yeah,
So
possibly, yeah.
best case, close the season on something like 57 points, something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Sunderland have been really struggling recently.
Yeah.
I think we could take 3 points off them if we turn up with the right mindset. But
Hmm.
like you said, it really depends on how the next three go before Sunderland. Middlesbrough similar. We could
Yeah.
easily get 3 points, but we could easily lose that, or we could easily draw it. To be honest, there's such an unpredictability about Watford. Um, and, and then there was a clip on Twitter going around a while ago of a fan predicting that, I think they said that
Yeah.
Portsmouth will either win, lose, or draw today. Um,
Yeah. You've just done
I have
that.
just done that, but I think there's some justification in a warped way around that with Watford. But yeah, I reckon we probably will get 1 point from this week.
Mm.
It really depends on our external factors until the end of the season, though. Hull, whether they're pushing for playoffs still, they got a big win at the weekend against Cardiff in that hope. Um, we could lose that game, or we could win it. To be honest, it's just such a
I'd
vague
stop,
ending.
mate, now.
Um,
I'd
I've really
stop
dug
now.
myself a hole that is going to be difficult to get out of.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's why I
three
said
between
three
three
to
and
five
five
points.
points.
Yeah.
I'll just back out and go with what you said. Oh god, that's.
We'll
uh,
let you off this week, mate, because you've been riding your bike around. You're a
yeah,
bit tired.
I'm very tired, very tired. All right then. I think that's everything. I can't. I'm possibly. I've lost everything here. Head losses hitting. I don't think we've missed anything off, James.
No, I don't think so. Just, I think just in terms of what we've spoken to, I think we can all agree that we've been encouraged, not wowed, but encouraged by Tom,
Yeah.
and you know, I hope the board has the sense to give him a go because I think the fans want it, the players look like they want it, and
Mm.
the performances have probably justified it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, mate.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's fair. And yeah, I do agree. I completely agree. Yeah, optimistic. I've really not been wowed by what I've seen so far from Watford, but the general consensus is, we're trending in a positive direction.
Mm.
And hopefully that will continue until the end of the season, and which will result in Cleverley getting the job. So, thank you very much for listening this week. If you are still here, it does mean a lot. Yeah, we couldn't have been happier with the reception for the J Demerit video. Obviously, it was our first time doing anything like that, so it's so nice for it to come off well, and people seem to really enjoy that one. So thank you so much for that support. And all the support across the platforms that we put out stuff on. Yeah, it's been great to see the pod grow quite a lot in the past few weeks slash months. But yeah, thank you for your continued support, and we will see you again after Southampton away on Saturday. Take care, guys, and we'll see you soon.
See you later, everybody.